Ugh. Oh. 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 Oh God. Oh Jesus. Oh God. Oh. 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 You're still here. Here. You're still here. Well, I guess you want me to finish my list, don't you? Well, before I pass out from blood loss, I'll try. Ketchup.
Number 5.
Thomas the Tank Engine. This was the first show I can remember watching as a kid, so this had to be on my list. And it was also the first job I ever wanted to do as a kid. When I grew up, I wanted to be a train driver. I dodged a bullet there when I changed my mind. The show was basically a group of trains and what they got up to on their daily job. Oh yeah, and they could frickin' talk! And mostly what they got on through the day was basically getting the job done, and pretty much every episode, one of them would crash, and sometimes it would be quite a big one. However, what really made the show a franchise was the toy collection. Honestly, my parents must have spent a fortune on Thomas stuff. Anything with the name on it, I had to have it. They even got me the limited edition Golden Thomas. And what did I do to them? I did what the show did. I crashed them and destroyed them, basically. Money well spent there. The show basically had the same effects of Thunderbirds, where it was many sets and the trains would be remote controlled. However, none of the human characters ever really moved. And now when I look back at the show today, I realise that some of the trains were really grumpy bastards. I mean, look at James.
Dirty trucks from dirty sidings.
But I was 6 then and I really didn't care. Thomas the Tank Engine, the train service we wished we had.
Number 4.
Doctor Who. Back in 1963, the BBC made a little show that had a non-stop run for 26 series and didn't end until 1989. My God, how things have changed. This show had everything: terrific acting, genius writing, Hollywood levels of special effects, and it had the perfect time slot of Saturday night TV. Racking up the awards and millions of worldwide viewers watching a 900-year-old alien who's a bit mad, travelling through time and space, defeating all manner of monsters, creatures, aliens and robots, and also had a pretty good knack for picking up girls. Seriously, how the hell does he do it? Now, the old show used terrifying creatures like the rubber foam monster and the extremely outdated tin robot. Now, however, the BBC Special Effects department has been on a roll. And hell, some of the episodes are actually pretty scary. The Weeping Angels spring immediately to mind. Although the show was brilliantly written and brilliantly acted, the thing that stood out for me the most, my favourite thing, was the music. Murray Gold could really write and compose a beautiful piece of music to fit the scene. He could make it incredibly tense and thrilling, or sad and mopey. Hell, the BBC hold a concert each year at the Royal Albert Hall just featuring all the music, because it's that good. Doctor Who. It regenerated into something magnificent.
Number 3.
Teen Titans. Now, during the time this show was aired, you had a big choice in superhero shows, from Justice League to the unstoppable force of Dragon Ball and the endless series of Pokemon. Teen Titans had a sort of soft spot for me. Probably because it never took itself seriously and it was such a different take on a superhero team. And when it did take itself seriously, particularly the season finales, they were so good. They were beautifully written. And the episodes that really didn't take themselves seriously were funny and enjoyable to watch. But when you saw who created the show, you knew you were in good hands because it was made by Glenn Murray, who was a big help for awesome. The show stuck very faithfully to its source material, the comic, although there were a few changes made to the show. Although the most noticeable change was this style. It was the Americans trying to be Japanese. There was definitely an anime style to it, and I think it works. It makes the jokes work because it makes you think it's come from Japan and this is what they do, this is what they're good at, and it actually made the jokes funnier. The characters stick mainly to the comics, and so do the storylines, and also the character romance. Although another change was made to the name of the main villain. You see, in the comic he's called Deathstroke, but for some reason they changed his name to Slade, which sort of has a bit of a ring to it. But apparently the other thing that got major fans worked up was apparently what one of the characters, called Starfire, wore. You see, in the show, she wore this. Whereas in the comic, she wore this. But apparently fans of the comic wanted her to wear this in the show. Can't imagine why. Teen Titans. Even though I found the theme tune annoying, it was different for all the right reasons.
Number 2.
The Robot Wars. Now most of the shows on this list were better than this, critic-wise, but my God, I love this show. 9 series of this show, and having people build over months and sometimes even years of painstaking work, care and love, and then just setting it into an arena and watching it get destroyed for a TV show. If that is not the greatest idea for a TV show ever, I don't know what is. The show started in 1999 and finished in 2004 with a total of 155 episodes. That is impressive. What's also impressive is the level of engineering that goes into some of these robots, and then what happens to it.
Axel flips! Oh, goodness me, by really big cheese!
The show was originally presented by Jeremy Clarkson, but he only did 1 series. So then the show was taken over by Craig Charles, who had this to say about it.
What have I done with my career? This is just awful.
Ah. Well, anyway, one of the only things to stay unchanged is the commentator Jonathan Pierce, who was perfect for the job because he never took it seriously.
2 in there as well, punctured. Kitty wants to stay out of damage. The clock ticks down. That's come down with snow on it. Cease. Oh dear, that was great.
As each series came, you could see the level of engineering grew. I mean, the original winner of the show was this. And the most recognisable winner was a robot called Razor. Just look at that. You could tell the show was popular at its peak because it had a line of toys. Again, my parents spent a fortune on them. See, I've got one here. Look, it moves around and does stuff. Isn't that great? Robot Wars. It was geeky and awesome, and that's just fine. And before number 1, it's time for a quick recap. Number 10, Thunderbirds. Number 9, MST3K. Number 8, Top Gear. Number 7, Looney Tunes. Number 6, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Number 5, Thomas the Tank Engine. Number 4, Doctor Who. Number 3, Teen Titans. And number 2, Robot Wars.
Number 1. Ed,
Ed, and Eddie. Now, Looney Tunes may have been the master of cartoon violence, but I think Ed, Edd and Eddy perfected it. Having three completely different friends set out to get money and always end up with it blowing in their face, sometimes quite literally.
Like this double D! Zap buddy, zap zap!
And always ending up in a hell of a predicament. This show was so different this time. It wasn't about do-gooders always triumphing over evil, it was just three friends who are hated by everyone, just trying to get jawbreakers. I mean, some of the stuff they do, it's gotta be easier to get money than this.
Oh, brother!
And most kids shows would have a message in them, something it would try to teach the kids. For example, Robot Wars would try to get people interested into robotics and engineering. I would love to know what the message was for Ed, Edd and Eddy. Someone please tell me, because I would love to know. Now you might think I'm mocking this show more than others, but that's only because you do when you love a show this much. The three Eds were so different to each other, they were chalk and cheese incarnate. Ed was your big friendly giant, and also the biggest idiot you will ever meet.
For crying out loud! Ed, you were supposed to use a real turkey!
Stuffing anybody!
If you put Peter Griffin and Homer Simpson and combined their idiocy together, they would not be half as stupid as this guy. Ed was your bookworm genius who always built all these contraptions. Last but by no means least was Eddy, who always came up with the plans and the schemes to get people's money by conning them, pretty much. And why is he like this? So he could be like his brother, who we then find out is a complete jackass. Ed, Edd and Eddy never dealt with any issues, never solved anything. It was just insanely funny. And my god, I loved it. Ed, Edd and Eddy, three friends trying to get money, is my #1 kid show of all time.
Syncopated style!
So that was my top 10 favourite kids shows, and most of the shows I mentioned had films, but I'm going to take a look at those one day. But until then, I'm Alexthehunted, and I'm going to relive my childhood.